Hello, everybody. There's nothing going on. It's just a late night chat. I may end up being here all by myself. I don't know. But I just wanted to touch base with everybody. I hadn't checked in on you guys to see how you all were doing, and so I wanted to make sure that I did. That I just talked to you guys. That I just said, "Hey, nothing big. Probably ain't gonna be nobody but me." I see a zero, so that means it's just me, and that's always fun because I like talking to myself. That's the best company on the planet. I don't know whether y'all know it or not. But yeah, just looking at a lot of the things that are going on right now and seeing where they all line up biblically and seeing how all the stuff is happening and how unique and weird everything feels. I don't know, since that thing lit up a month ago, right? Since it started doing its thing and churning and going faster and faster and faster. Seems like there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Hey, Shackarack and Black, peace to you too. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now, wouldn't you say? We got people that are leaving the planet before their long age that's been promised. We've got a lot of things going on around us, and it all sort of seems to want us to be distracted in one way or another. And therein lies the problem, because the distractions are real. And the problem is that if we don't realize that they're just distractions that get us off of our game or attempt to get us off our game, Inger Norman, we will definitely we will succumb to a lot of that stuff. So it's so important for us to really just keep our minds focused on what they need to be focused on. I'll be honest with you, it's getting kind of hectic. Remember that song? It's getting kind of hectic, getting kind of heavy. It's getting kind of hectic for a lot of folks. Hey, Lady M, blessings to you too, sister. It's getting kind of hectic. It really is. There's a lot of things that are happening. It's like moving so fast that it really feels like today sort of felt like it was standing still. It had a really funny looking haze coming from the sky. It looked like California to me. It looked just like Los Angeles for a minute earlier today. It had a real fuzzy haze over the city. And it wasn't a haze that was like the pollen. No, it was something. And I don't know exactly what's going on or what's about to hit, but I feel like it's something. And, a lot of the old people used to say, wow, something feels like it's in my knower. I know it's something about to happen. CL Smooth, how are you? You know what I mean, Shag? Doesn't it feel like something we're just like waiting and you want to be ready? That's how it is. It's like everybody's sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. I noticed that today while I was on the other channel. I was looking at how now we are the country that's literally begging for help. That is crazy. That's amazing. We're literally begging other countries to help us feed our young. That speaks volumes about the situation that we're in as a nation. And even though we all know that we're, in the world but not of the world, that's still something to be said. When you think about that, that's still a lot to be said, because we're living here and we're the country that's always snooping in other people's business. You see what I mean? We are the Karen of the world. We try to tell everybody, hey, SCDHL3, hey, how are you? Okay. Yeah. So it's looking pretty weird out here, but we are the country that is always, hey, Lisa Hall, how you doing, darling? Well, we're the country that's always helping everybody and always running around telling everybody how to do their people and telling everybody, well, gee whiz, look at how terrible you're treating your citizens and you shouldn't do this or that. And we are literally begging to the world to give our babies milk. Wow, I'm amazed. A lot of stuff happened over the past week. And I said it before we closed earlier today on Headlines with a Voice, that there's a lot of stories that I got. Stuff was moving so fast that by the time I was ready to publish some of the stuff that I saw, Poppy Love, it was about to be, it's old. But do you realize that we are literally in a conflict? And I don't want to use the W word, but do you remember the group, What Is It Good For? That's what we're in, and we don't even know it. We don't even have a clue. I think some of us may have thought about it, but we don't know to what extent we're really involved. We have troops that are going back now into Somalia. They're going back. The former president pulled them out. Now they're going back. And then we're rotating troops, so they say rotating. We're rotating troops in Europe, from Fort Hood, from all over the place. They're relieving some folks. There'll be about 100,000 of them out there, but we're doing a lot, and we're moving stuff with equipment and giving lots of money. And then we sending, wives over to areas that's not our troops that are in that community. It's not our troops. We had Michelle Obama. She went to go check on our troops, to build their morale. I used to do that when I was a little girl. That was Bob Hope. He took care of the troops. The whole USO thing. They used to do all that stuff. But the women who've gone, generally, the wives have gone when it's our people that have been involved in some type of conflict to sort of lift their spirits up. But this time, we sent the First Lady in what was supposed to be a very unsafe situation. And hey, Jeff, thank you, and welcome to being a new member. Welcome, my love. And the creepy part is that she went, but right before she went, Miss Pelosi went. Now, if this stuff is not setting us up to understand biblically where we are, I don't know what is. I will say this, that a lot of people can read the Bible and interpret it one way and then act it out. And then there are others that had their hand in, or, their predecessors had their hand in creating it the way that it is, or writing themselves in, and now they're acting it out. So for a minute, we've been saying some of this stuff is premature, because it is. But what I want to say is, what we're dealing with here is real. Biblically, what we are dealing with is real. And even if they try to pretend and make something happen too soon, it's still biblical. It's still biblical. We are at the time where it's time to cry loud and spare not. Don't worry about feelings. Don't worry about people. Don't worry about what folks say. We are at that time where it's time for us to cry loud and spare not. It's time to shout that this is the day. This is the day to get it right. This is the day to put your life in order. This is what it is. It's time. It's most assuredly time. Here, baby, this is your mama. We'll talk to your mama. So this is the time. This is the time for us to continue to impart truth to people, to continue to tell people, that Yah loves them, to let them understand what the word tells them, and how to get themselves in order. And really, it's also a time for us to step up our personal games. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's really a time for us to step up our personal game. And so if we don't, I don't know what it is that I don't know what we think. I don't know what we think if we don't get it together. So I want to encourage you guys to calmly and sweetly speak truth. Calmly and sweetly, because if you can feel it like I can feel it right now, it is off the chain. The thickness that's in the air is off the chain. And we shouldn't have any fear. We should just, square our shoulders up and understand what's about to pop off. But there's some stuff about to pop. What I don't know. Now, here's what I wanted to ask you guys. Hey, son, how you doing there, Frank? Here's what I wanted to ask you guys. Do you think that the orange man is coming back? And if you do, tell me in the chat why. I want you guys to tell me if you think he's coming back. And if you think so, why? And then I want to tell you something. If you think he's coming back, and if you think he's coming back, why do you think he's coming back? And what do you think, more than anything, what do you think he's coming back to do? I'm doing well. What do you think he's coming back to do? That's the question. SCDHL says, Sarah, my eyes are so bad, I can't really read anything, but I can type my apologies. That's the cutest thing. I think he will come back in a way. I keep safely saying, in a way, in a way, in a way, because part of me says, if this dude comes back, I know who he is. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Frank. Absolutely, Frank. You all see what Frank has there in the chat? To play the good cop, bad cop. To come in and rescue and save the day. The part that I want to impress upon everybody is that if you quietly or secretly have a feeling that you would like for him to come back because it would be better than what you're dealing with, I want you all to do a heart check. I want you to check your heart, and I want you to check your loyalties, because our loyalties are supposed to be to the Father and him alone. That's it. That's all. Because at the end of the day, that's the only one who's never let us down. He's never let us down. And I always say all the time, you see, Lisa, I always say all the time, you say, no, it won't be better. But you know what? There's a lot of people who I've spoken to recently that feel like that. They feel like, well, it'll be better than what we're dealing with right now. But here is the rub with that. Here is the rub with that. The deal is that if that happens, then you definitely know what camp he's from. Because technically, he didn't even get a full 4 years last time. So that means that if that happens, then we know who he is. If that happens. None of us have any proof of that. But there's a lot of things that lead us to understand that he's part and parcel, part of the forerunning. He's a part of, if nothing else, he's a forerunner. Now, we know the guy that's running this place now, because it ain't the cat with the white hair that's running the place. We do know that he was a forerunner, and they all are. Okay? Our only solution is Yah, Lady M, and Frank Nitty said. It's very true. But we do have to keep our eyes open. So that's the reason why I'm talking about it right now, because I want everybody to understand something, that in as much as people may feel like, they're done with party, different sides of the party and politics and all that other stuff, you have to be cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of people who really, really honestly refuse to let go of Babylon, to the point where they still say they're attached to Yah, and they're still looking for a human to save them. And that has always been a major issue. That's always been a major issue. That people need a person. And really, it's almost like a peer, because it's another human being. They don't want to trust the Father. They don't want to trust. You'd be better off trusting yourself if you don't believe in Yah. You'd be better off trusting yourself than trusting somebody else. Okay? All right? So, when we look at all of this, we really have to begin to look at it in a balanced place. Now, tomorrow, we will be interceding tomorrow, 6 to 8 o'clock here. And between that time, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we will be interceding for our nation, for the people who want to be free, want to receive the gifts that Yah has given them. Because it's time for us to do that. It is time for us to actively, collectively together, get this thing together. That's what it's about. 1 can chase 1,000 and 2 can chase 10,000. Okay? Hey, wagon. How you doing? But that's what this is about. This is about us getting ourselves in position and being obedient to Yah. Because as the salt of the earth, we have positioning that we need to get in place. You can't play volleyball without everybody being in the position they're supposed to be in. You can't play football, basketball, no game. You can't do nothing. And not that this is a game, but we must be in position. Hey, Kevin, how have you been? Okay? We just have to understand, and we have to show the love that people need right now. This is a really unique time. This is a unique time, a very unique time, where we have so many people that are in pain, that are perplexed, that are confused, that think that they're doing things the right way, and no one is to say that any of us have attained greatness. But we do know that when we show love to somebody, that totally crushes anything opposite. It crushes hate. Let me tell you something. It was about a month ago, and I may have already told you this, but I haven't shared it with everybody. It was about a month ago, and I had made a right turn to go get a cup of coffee. And when I went in to go to this little place to get the cup of coffee, there was another vehicle sitting in the middle of the road. And I think I told you guys that the lady looked like she was really upset, and I was deep in thought, and I wasn't even thinking. And then I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I looked at the lady's face in the rearview mirror, and she was so upset at the fact that I turned in. I made a right turn. Well, I wasn't going to sit in the street. If I had sat there instead of making the right turn up into the parking lot, I would have been in the street. So I didn't even think. I was deep in thought, and I turned. And then she was sitting there ready to make her left turn. Well, anyway, she got behind me while we were in the line for the coffee. And I could see the poor blessed soul's face in the driver's side mirror. And I said, gee, I asked the lady when I got to get my coffee, I said, how much is the lady's behind me? Because I didn't have a lot, but thank Yah, she was only getting something small. So it was a small amount, and I went ahead and bought it. And she, I told you guys this, I think I told you this. And as I was driving, I felt like she was following me, but do you know she slowed me down to thank me for buying her coffee. She said, I'm sorry I was mean to you. I'm so sorry that I was mean to you, she said. She said, I'm going through a divorce and it's just been really rough. But do you understand that all we have to do is show love to somebody? Huh? That's all we got to do is show love. That melts the hearts. That melts a person who wants to be a meanie. That melts their heart. And do you think she really wanted to be mean? No. She was going through pain. She was going through something terrible. There's no reason why she was going through the divorce. I mean, could be a myriad of reasons we could imagine. Maybe she was being cheated on and her husband did something physical to her. There could be a myriad of reasons. Could have been her fault. Who knows what the reason was? But for whatever the reason, when that coffee was given to her, when I paid for it just melted her heart. Don't you know that's how we have to be all the time? We have to really be cognizant of the fact that there are other people that are hurting out there. And it's so important. It's important. It's hard though, because I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you can be having major issues in your own household, and you be wanting to try to show love outside the household, but it's the people that live right there with you that get you in, in such a way. They'll get you in such a way that you'll find yourself acting out to strangers the way that you feel like the last interaction was with you and your family. So sometimes we really do have to start at home. We honestly do. Sometimes you got to show love where you wanted to just say, nope. I've already written you off, buddy. Sometimes you gotta show love. And I'll tell you honestly, it's not easy. It is not easy, you guys. Showing love at the time where people are crapping on you, treating you like trash, stealing from you, lying on you. What else can you think of that's bad? Cheating you. And you still have to show love? Proverb Nations, how are you? You see, you have to show love, and it's hard, but we definitely got to practice at the house, because you will take that raggedy attitude right out the house, and that situation could have ended up different. One person says something, another person says something, and there are a lot of unreal issues and situations that happen out there where people who don't know one another end up getting entangled with each other in a verbal confrontation and something happens. Okay, there are a lot of those. But that's how you dispel it. That's how you take it down. Unless, of course, there's a crazy person. But do you realize that could have ended up a lot of different ways if I had a bad attitude and took it out on that lady? Okay? Lady M just says, amazing what love and a cup of coffee did to that woman. That's absolutely right. For all we know, she could have been a backslidden person who was really reaching out saying, Father, I just wish you would help me. How many times have you said, and there may be some of us who've never had this issue, but I know I have, where you just get down to your last moment and you like, man, if you just, could you please just help me with this? Can you help me understand? When somebody's done you wrong and you just say, Father, just help me understand why. Have you ever been so good? I know a lot of men may feel like this because a lot of guys can treat a woman so good. There's some that are bad, but I'm not talking about them. There are a lot of guys that can love a woman so much and love a woman so hard that all of a sudden she treats him like a trash bag, like a dog, he gives her anything and everything. He loves her. He's faithful to her. But then all of a sudden, what happens? Well, she treats him bad. And sometimes he just holds his head in his hand and he's like, wait, how can you treat a man bad who treats you good? How can you ask that question? How can you treat a man bad that treats you good? And then sometimes you get to where you want to ask the Father, you're like, Father, what is it about me? It's nothing about you, brother, son. It's nothing about you. It's just that chick wasn't ready for what she'd been asking for. The Father wrapped everything she needed right in you. And because you're a good dude, and because you're a good cat, you wanted to treat her like a lady, and she had never been treated that way, and so she didn't understand it. And now your guard is up. Okay? Your guard is up. And you aren't going to deal with it. You say, And it's not that you're being hard-hearted. It's not that you're being mean. You've been hurt. And once we have been hurt, there is a mechanism that tells us, hey, you know what? Yeah, I might be able to, hey, John, optimistically cynical, I'm going to have to talk to you. So sometimes we may say, you know what? Yeah, I can forgive you, but I definitely can't forget. Do you realize you're not supposed to forget? A lot of people say, well, you know what? Forgiveness is just putting a situation back to the way it was. Yeah, but if you get bit by a dog and you walk past that same gate again, you going to cross the street. Why? Because you remember what happened with that dog. So even though you may have loved her and you may have treated her like a queen, you felt like you were a fool. And sometimes we can get in a situation where we begin to question the Father and say, how did I miss it? And that's the anguish that I'm pinpointing right now. We can get in a situation, and the people that we are sent to help, to pick up, to nurture, to get them through to the finish line, sometimes they're feeling like that. They don't want to forgive because they were treated so badly, and they don't understand it, and they want to hold on to that anger. And at that point, it's no time for you to tell them not to. At that point, it's for you to stand there and just be there. As long as they're not sinning, they gonna be angry. They should be angry. As long as they don't sin, as long as they don't physically assault, as long as they don't do anything in that anger. So yeah, you gotta show love. Yeah. Okay? You gotta show love. It's not easy. Brian Parker, do you know that it's not easy? Do you know that it's not easy? Do you know why there are so many good men that have really bad women? If you guys haven't looked at how Gomer treated the man of Yah. Gomer treated that man so bad. She treated him so poorly, and he loved her, and he forgave her. And he forgave her. But if you look at the names of his children, you already know homeboy did not forget what she did. Not my son. That's one of the names. Okay? So while we're walking this life, and while we see all the things that can make us hurt and that can make us confused, things that come on the news, things where people hurt people who are very innocent, hurt the children. You may get righteously indignant. People who hurt innocent women. People who hurt innocent men. There's a lot of broken men out there, you guys. There's a lot of men out there that are so hurt. So just a smile. You hear me say that all the time. Just a smile. Yeah, just a smile. It's free. Okay? I have the understanding that when we go through these things, it is not by accident. But if we don't go through them correctly, for whatever reason, we have to repeat them. That's the weirdest thing. That is so weird. Now, some of you may not, but I've noticed that when I see a situation coming back, I'm like, oh, yikes, I remember this issue. This scenario happened to me way back then. And so it's hard. So I'm trying to right now build you up as I know you guys, have built me up, have picked me up when I've been down. There are several of you here that can send me a message and it just makes me smile. Sarah Brown. Okay? There are several of you here who are just kind, who will just reach out to me. All right, Lisa. There are several of you all that'll just reach out or ask a question or say something and it'll just make me smile. How are you doing today? Frank will say, how are you? Okay? So that's what I want to do for you. I want to bless you the way you've blessed me. And I want to tell you guys that even though it may not be easy, even though it may be or feel like it's hard, I want you guys, Mad Dog 23, how you doing? I want you guys to just walk in love as much as you can. Okay. Kevin Osborne says, there are men who haven't been so good, but would like a chance to show they've changed. Wow. Sometimes you got to get away from your kinfolk when that's the issue, because I know a lot of times, in some cases, not all, in some cases, Kevin, some people just say, well, I just moved on and moved to another location and I'm doing okay now. Some people can't move. They have to be where they are for whatever the reason. Maybe they have property or whatever. They have to stay put. But that's a powerful statement. There are men who haven't been so good, but would like a chance to show they've changed. That is a mouthful. That is a mouthful. And therein lies not judging, just listening to the person talk, just being somebody that can be there for them. Oftentimes when it's somebody that's like that, and especially women, when we meet somebody who's in that type of a situation, we automatically think, oh, we're supposed to be together. No, ma'am. What you need to do is just be an ear. Sometimes you just need to be an ear. Sometimes if it's a relative or sometimes if it's an ex or whomever it is, sometimes you just need to listen. Doesn't mean that you need to be there any closer than a phone call. But people need. Once you change, would you like somebody throwing it back up in your face, y'all? No, you wouldn't want that because you say, hey, look here, I learned from my mistakes. But sometimes, like Kevin said, they just want a chance to show it. Don't judge nobody by what you used to see them do. Because let me tell you something. You may have seen a drug addict on the corner and then all of a sudden you don't see him no more. Let me tell you something. You may not see him no more, but when you do see him, you can't say, well, that was that drug addict. Why? Because you don't see him. You don't know if he changed or not. But you can definitely bet that if he don't look the same, if his body is cleaned up and, he's looking a little healthier than he used to look, you can definitely believe that there may be some changes there. Don't mean you need to run around and be with him. What it means is you need to understand that folks change and you need to treat people good no matter what, because if not for the grace of Yah, there you go. If it wasn't for his grace, it could be you. If it wasn't for his grace. If it wasn't for his mercy. There you go. It could be me, could be you. Could be a lot of us. So we have to show kindness. And we got to realize that we're all human beings. And as long as we're wrapped up in an earth suit, we're going to make a couple of 2 or 3 mistakes. Yes, we are. We're going to make a couple of 2 or 3 mistakes, at least, minimally. The worst thing to do is to have somebody constantly tell you about what you did. Constantly tell you about what you did. Treat them with love. You want to have a atmospheric change in your home. You want to change the atmosphere, mom, wife. Calm down. I know it's not easy because we're the ones that have all that energy and all of that, vibrato. We're the ones. We have all the emotion. My husband doesn't even argue. Do you know that? That cat ain't arguing with you. That cat is not arguing. He is not yelling. He is not calling you out your name. He ain't doing nothing. None of that. He ain't doing. He gonna do what he gonna do. Now let me just tell you that he gonna do and be who he is. Now that's just 110% the truth. But all of that getting into it with raising up the voice, oh no, he does not do that at all. And sometimes that's what you need. Some of us need a person that's not gonna, render railing for railing. And sometimes when you got somebody like that, you need to know, okay, well, they're quiet, leave them alone, they're quiet. And it should neutralize us. We women, it should neutralize us. If it doesn't, we need to do a heart check. It's time to pull over and check our hearts. We need to check our heart. There's a lot of people that are big softies. They may do some things that are wrong in their lives, but they are very kind. That's the funny thing that gets me, is a lot of people don't understand that people can make mistakes, but they can still be very kind people. Huh? Yeah, they can. Yeah. They can make some mistakes, but they're very kind. It's right in line with what Kevin is saying. They wasn't so good, but all they want is a chance to change. And then when they change, y'all, can we please let them? Because some of us want to stick people right back where they started from. You want to go take them right back. You know you's a drunk. You know you's a drunk. You a drinker. Yeah, you's a drinker. Blessings to you, Kevin. Blessings to you. I appreciate you so much. Blessings to you. But yeah, a lot of times we want to go and put them right back where they were. We want to take them and put them right back where they were. Yeah, he said he changed. She said she changed. Get a brother a chance to change. Well, who are you? We want to hold on. Yeah, you was a drinker. Yeah, you was a drunk. Yeah, you was a this. Yeah, you was a, you was a womanizer. Yeah, you used to do this but they used to. You don't have nothing from today that this cat done. He ain't did nothing today, not Nathan. He ain't did Nathan yesterday. He ain't did. And when you stop and you look around, if you could get rid of that chip that's on your shoulders, ladies, long enough to realize, hey, this cat has changed. But you see, there's a lot of us that are very hard-hearted. Yeah, but you know what? It's hard for old one to change his stripes. But look at how mean you are. Let that person alone. Let that person alone. Love them. It is so inexpensive to love somebody. Do you realize? Do you realize that love is the principal thing? It is the kindness and the tenderness and the love and the joy that we need to share with each other. It's not an easy task, but if you feel like you got to practice a little bit more, then walk this walk a little bit longer with your mouth closed, baby, and you going to be all right. You're going to learn to love because you're going to keep going through trials that make you have to love. But when you see somebody trying to change, please let them. Give them a nod. Give them a smile. You can go to the 99-cent store and buy them a card. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You can tell that person you are doing a good job. What's the matter with that? Tell them. Give them their flowers while they're in this dimension. It costs you nothing to be kind. But if you can't, you better check your heart. Check your heart. Because we all come here with a couple of things in common. And I always tell you that one of them is an expiration date. And you don't get a chance to come back in this vessel and say anything you thought you were supposed to say. So while it's yet day, and while you have the time, won't you share a little tenderness? Why can't you? A lot of people, especially women, especially older women. I know a lot of older women. I'm almost 58. I know a lot of older women that say, I don't care. He was a dog back then. But you're literally tearing this poor man down. He's staying and he's there because, well, to be honest, his pride knows the truth. And he knows that he's staying there because he's loved. Even though you're running him down, because his ego knows I can't go no place else at this age. Now, I done sat down 2 years ago. I haven't been cutting up like this for 2 whole years. And she won't let it go. So he just sits there. But his heart is broke. Shame on you, lady. Shame on us. Shame on us. Shame on us. Try a little tenderness. Sometimes you need to get into some of them old blues songs. Sometimes you need to get into some of them old songs. Look, the other day, I was going through some songs that that I'm getting ready for our members event in June. And I was pulling some songs together of things that I wanted to sing at the event. And as I did, I pulled a whole lot of old songs that make your heart just leap. And there was a song that I just immediately went into immediate worship. Just immediate worship. I was just so full of love at that moment and just so full of gratitude at that moment. Sometimes you got to go get you some old songs. I don't know what you like. Y'all might like old country. You might like old blues. You might like a little old gospel. I don't care. Music is very powerful. And if it's something that touches a vein in your body that was from your past, you'll find that you'll smile. You'll find that you get really happy because it's something that it touches a piece of your past. It touches a piece of your past and it gives you some solace. And while you have that and that feeling, you know what I mean, makes you feel good. Sometimes you'll be like, wow, that took me back. You know what takes me back like that sometimes is an old Steely Dan song. Asia. All I gotta do is hear old Steely Dan song and it just makes me smile because it takes me back to a place where things were simple. So it doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes you just need to put on an old song and chill out and relax. Just sit back and relax. That's all. Okay, that's all. Just sit back and relax. And when you're smiling and you're thinking of something, carry that feeling real close to you, and that'll help you remember how to treat somebody that treated you wrong. A lot of folks need your love. They don't need it from me. They don't need it from nobody else but you. Because it don't matter if it comes from somebody else. Kindness, it really does. Sometimes the stranger, that's one thing. But I'm talking about those that are closest to us that we know from what they did or from whence they came. Sometimes we gotta make them feel like, well, I'm better than you because I don't do X, Y, or Z. And that's the sad part, but that's the reality of why we end up treating people poorly. Because we constantly look at what we did not accomplish and what we did not do, and we beat up the people that are in our lives that have attempted to make their lives better. We want to drag them down back to where they were when they were that drug dealer, when they were that drunk, when they were that drug user, when they were running around here selling their food stamps just to get a couple of hits or something. We want to drag them back to that place. We don't want them to come up higher. Why? Because that was what we were using to make ourselves feel better. The fact that they were less than at that moment. But people learn on a different curve. Sometimes the underdog that you've been down there kicking gonna end up being the person that can help you. Because now you're listening to their conversation, and their conversation sounds like one filled with hope. And you throw one rock, and they keep on smiling. And now that conversation that used to be one where they were depressed or where they were almost at their wits' end, they just couldn't make it. Now that person sounds like they got a little bit of spine in them. They're standing erect and they're being kind too. Now wait a minute, this person had problems. She used to sleep with anything with a heartbeat multiple times a week. Different people she didn't even know. And now all of a sudden she's giving encouragement. Well, who does she think she is? I can't have her come up. Because if she comes up, it's going to share a big old spotlight on the fact that I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do. So I've got to make sure that I keep that person down and up under my feet and make them feel worse. Who does he think he is? He was the person. Child, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Don't you realize there can be nothing can touch a person with a made up mind. Can't nothing touch a person with a made up mind. If a person got their mind made up to do right, ain't nothing you or nobody else can do to change them. All they gonna do is see you for who you are, realize that they were feeling less than because they regarded you higher than you were, and they gonna roll right on out. Why? Because they was already headed for greatness. They was just letting you test the water by getting yourself together. That's what really was going on. You thought that you were better, and they was just your test. They were your test. And now that person sees you for who you are. You won't let them go. You won't let them change. You won't let them grow. You want to make them be who they were. You want to keep them being who they were. But you ain't got no right to do that. You ain't got no right. Move out of their way. And you grow. You grow. So, it's always easier to point the finger at somebody else. It's always easier to crucify a person and to castrate their personality and their history and everything. It's easier to chop that person apart. It's easy to do that, but it takes somebody with kindness, and it takes a real person to say they was wrong and apologize for that person that they have been constantly putting back in the jail cell over and over again. This person been out of jail, and you're going to keep him as being the person that was in jail. You're going to keep closing up the door and locking it. Closing up every time you see that person. Yeah, he was in jail. Yeah, she was in jail. Yeah, they did. But you know that was 10 years ago. And you are in the same exact petty little place that you were in when they made that mistake. And now look at how they've advanced. Get it together. And these are people who literally thump the Bible that I'm talking about. These are people who thump the Bible that I'm talking about. This is us. We got to check our heart, fam. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for kicking it with me before I go and turn in. It was great being here with you guys. Thank you so much for just chilling with me. It was really cool. I appreciate you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to welcome our new member again. Thank you so very much for joining us. And we're going to have some good stuff coming up. We are doing our Bible trivia. That's coming up. Jeff, I want to thank you for being one of the new members. Thank you, thank you. And of course, again, Brother Osborne, I want to thank you so much for thinking of me and giving that beautiful super chat. Thank you so very much. I want you guys to remember what we always say here on the Lockhart Perspective or any of the Felicia Lockhart Group publications. And that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys, take care of yourselves first. And then I want you to take care of one another. And until we see one another again, please continue to be blessed. The Lockhart Perspective.